My mother was a bright-spirited, loving woman full of warmth and charm. People loved her instantly. And I was able to care for her in the several years leading up to her death at 90 years old. She needed a lot of help, and this was really hard for her to accept. One particular day, she was experiencing so much back pain because of cracked disc that all she could do was just lay on the bed. And as I lay next to her to keep her company, she kept repeating the same heartbreaking phrase over and over again. I feel so worthless because I can't do anything. It seemed that when her ability to do was taken away, her worth also vanished. As I tried to reassure her that she was precious to many, no matter whether she could do anything, I felt the gift of this insight burn into my own mind at the same time. What if I matter, even if I can't do one thing for any other person? Who am I if I can't do, or if I'm overwhelmed or resentful about all the needed doing? Mindfulness answers this question. We are not human doings. We are human beings. Mindfulness is an intentional switching from the doing mode of the mind to the being mode of the mind. It closes out of the doing mode, the gotta fix, gotta solve, gotta get done, gotta fill every need, to simply being. This grounded, aware state of mind is a hallmark of mindfulness. The results of practicing it calm and heal, soothe and relieve, empower, and bring a greater sense of who we really are. Mindfulness is a type of brain training backed by thousands of scientific studies showing it reduces stress, anxiety, depression, and emotional volatility and numbness. It also changes us by increasing the positives. Happiness, contentment, emotional stability, and self-compassion all go up with this practice. What's exciting is that mindfulness is particularly helpful for caregivers. Sadly, studies have shown that caregivers experience even higher rates of depression than those for whom they are caregiving. But the hopeful research also shows that mindfulness can improve the quality of life for caregivers and improve their mood. Caregivers show decreased levels of stress and burden after just an 8-week course in mindfulness. In another study, caregivers reported that using a mindfulness practice during a hospital visit helped the visit go more smoothly. Mindfulness practice can help reduce the level and experience of stress and caregiver burden. One study found that mindfulness not only decreases the impacts on caregivers' internal experience of a challenge, but also their external reaction to that challenge was improved. It also showed a downstream result for the receiver of care as they benefited from the improvement in the caregiver. With caregiving, we need the benefits of mindfulness now more than ever, as we struggle with an overload of burdens, intense emotions, and perhaps difficult relationships. The needs of our loved one may be more intense and unending than we have the strength to shoulder. Mindfulness helps us develop a new relationship with the needed caregiving. We feel more in tune with our thoughts and emotions and our needs. Let's look at a real caregiver example. Sheila, which is a pseudonym, was the primary caregiver for her beloved family member for more than 6 years. She was suffering and struggling with the stress and strain associated with all that caregiving. She was suffering with mild depressive and anxious symptoms. And one particular act of care that she dreaded doing was getting her family member, dressed each morning. She had the thought that she had to do this to him because he was deteriorating. And she also had the thought that he wasn't trying at all. And whenever this thought would show up, she knew it was irrational and it would make her angry, and yet she couldn't get it out of her head. And her dread for this act of getting him dressed each morning grew. Through mindfulness training, she was able to adopt a different perspective. She could mentally rehearse being calm and present in the act of caregiving, while also being more present and compassionate to what she was feeling at the same time. She was able to contemplate more what his mind was like and what effort he was putting forth. She came to realize he was trying as hard as he could. And so her sense of interconnectedness with her loved one grew, and she began to feel that they were in it together. She experienced greater presence and calm in the challenge of dressing. And normally she would feel tense in her shoulders and her neck the night before, even just in the anticipation of needing to dress in the next morning. This tension and dread were gone after mindfulness training. She was able to perform this caregiving activity with a greater sense of kindness and with an internal peace of mind and presence. Her family member, the receiver of care, noticed this shift and said, "You're so caring, you're so kind." He actually felt this difference in her. And like other caregivers, her depression and anxiety symptoms reduced and her mood improved overall. Well, she still needed to care for him, but the emotional pain and reactivity and resistance were reduced or gone. For the rest of us, this means mindfulness makes us more resilient, and our mind becomes an inner ally to make the caregiving easier. And there will still be bad days when you feel judgmental or angry or resentful, but with mindfulness, we can relate to our intense emotions with more self-compassion, more openness, and more acceptance. So what is mindfulness? Well, it can be defined as paying attention to the present moment without judgment, which means being curious and kind. This special kind of paying attention brings a soothed brain state, and if it's repeated often, it begins to create new pathways in the brain. It's a kind of inner strength training. Just as we train physically with weights or exercise, mindfulness trains our brain for more inner strength and resilience. Let's look closer at this quality of attention that's described as without judgment. Experiencing something without judgment involves taking it with curiosity, with an openness, without preconceptions, a kind interest. Now, switching from a judgment stance to curiosity and kindness moves us from reactivity to openness, and from a stressed and threatened state to a more soothed and safe one. Now, how different is this from how we normally experience our moments? We're usually distracted, or ruminating about the past, or worrying or anxious about the future, or we're resistant, judging ourselves or our experience or others around us, wanting them to be different than the way they are. As a busy caregiver, you may be thinking, "I don't have time for mindfulness." Well, no time for mindfulness? No problem. Mindfulness can be done anywhere, anytime. It's a way of paying attention, and it can be switched into instantly without stopping what you're currently doing. So let's try it. The best way to learn about mindfulness is to give it a try. So are you willing to do this brief exercise? I'll guide you through a simple practice that you can use on the go at any time. So now, let's begin. You can allow your eyes to close, or if you're on the go, just shift your mind to thoughtful reflection. Become aware of all the tiny sensations on the bottom of your right foot, along with the surface that it's touching. Pay attention to the temperature, its warmth or coolness, or any pressure. Now switch attention to the left foot, attending to any sensations you can notice in this foot. Perhaps tingling, vibration, pulsing, or a sense of its weight. Becoming aware of the contact points of where this foot touches the ground. Now shifting attention to sensations in both feet together as a whole. Spending a moment receiving any and all contact sensations in both feet together. Noticing the sense of being grounded to the earth beneath your feet. This simple practice brings you back into the present moment, and out of your head, and that mental whirlwind that may be going on up there. You can do this grounding practice, especially when you're becoming anxious or upset, because shifting your attention in this way helps you feel more anchored and stable, and may even invite a measure of calm. This way of paying attention, this being in the present without judgment, can be practiced. And with training, mindfulness decreases stress, anxiety, depression, and it increases clarity and wisdom. So thank you for being with me today. And for a continued brief practice, just click on the link below and begin your mindful relief now